Welcome to the Living Room Vibe podcast. I'm your host, Danny Lourdes, creating a space where real people have raw conversations. Make yourself at home and let's get into it.
Guys, I am beyond excited today because I am joined by someone who knows the real unfiltered Danny from way back when, my college friend Gaellissa. She's an incredible photographer with an eye that captures not just images, but stories as well. She's an awesome mom of 3 beautiful girls and a wife to her boo thing, Brent. Gaellissa, welcome to the living room.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, girl, it's been a minute since we've been able to sit down
2
like
minutes.
this. Yeah. More like 5. But how's life been treating you these days?
Life has been pretty good. I cannot actually complain about anything. Considering the times that we are in, I am happy with my household. I'm happy with my job. I'm happy with, I'm just happy, actually. I'm just chilling.
That's what's up. Because you're right. In today's times, being able to just chill, I feel like it's a luxury.
Yeah, I think my happiness might be kind of a I'll take it type thing because I definitely I want to say up until a few years ago have been continuously stressed all the time. With so many different things pulling me in a lot of different directions. My anxiety was through the roof all the time. My depression was depressing. And I had to kind of push those things to the side to kind of, raise my kids, do my job,
Right.
Be a wife and all this stuff. So I think a few years ago, a lot of the things that were stressing me out, I decided I'm not going to allow these things to stress me out anymore. And I just kind of removed myself from those stressors and just not having a high heart rate or high blood pressure has been a game changer. So I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take no high blood pressure and I will be.
Wait, did you have high blood pressure?
I don't even know. I hadn't been to the doctor. I had recently gone to the doctor for the first time since 2019, I think.
Friend. Was that your last time you had your baby? Hold on.
No, that's not true. Because I did go to the doctor after having Jay in 2020, but that wasn't even for me. It was like just to make sure my uterus didn't fall apart after. But I had not been to the doctor after that because I felt like, if I went, they'd be like, oh, you need to be on bed rest or you need to be committed or and I'm like, I can't be committed. I can't be on bed. I can't do those things. So I'm not going to pay the copay just to be told that I have anxiety or whatever. I know I have these things. But yeah, I just had been afraid of going for a long time, but, I probably did have high blood pressure. I just, made do. I don't now.
Oh, okay.
I'm very happy about. I'll take it. So, yeah.
So can you share a little bit with our listeners about how our paths crossed in college?
So I met you and your wonderful husband, who was your boyfriend at the time.
Yeah.
I met you guys at the University of Florida. I remember, I don't remember like exactly when it was. It was sometime during the summer. I was very lonely. 18-year-old. But anyway, I had come to Bible Talk. Mm-hmm. I met everybody at the Bible Talk and was very overwhelmed with how friendly everybody was. But even though we had met at that time, I didn't really get to know you until after you got married, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
After your wedding. I remember we were put together as like a discipleship partner situation. I was dating somebody at the time, and I was like, I had been through enough of these discipleship relationships where we did not get past a very surfacey type thing. And when it came time to be partnered with you, I was like, Danny, who's Danielle.
It's fine.
But she seems so like...
It's like only my old school friends call me by my government name, guys. That's how you know.
But I was like, man, she seems like somebody that holds down her true friends. And I want to try to be one of those. I want to be her friend. I want to be like a real friend, not just like somebody that meets up with you every week and I have to confess all my sins, which I never did that, guys.
I don't know. I feel like we really, our D times were, I don't know. We was
but
apart.
I never
We was in
did
the
that
street.
before. And then when we first got together, I don't know if it was the first time or it was one of the first times.
Mm-hmm.
I said, or you or I or both of us said, okay, we're just gonna lay it all out.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we are afraid to tell other people, we're just gonna tell each other. We listen, but we don't judge. That started
Yes.
way before the TikTok trend.
Yep.
We listen and we don't judge. And so she listened to everything that I had, and I listened to everything that she had. I'm not gonna lie. I was surprised by some of it. I did not judge, but it was still like some stuff that I was like, wow, like I would have never known if I just kept it at the surface with you. And I was so grateful for that time that I was just like, we need to keep it here for as long as possible, because I don't know very many people that I'd be willing to do this again over and over with. So what year was that? I don't even know what year that was.
Either.
It was sometime after you got married. So whatever year that was, sometime after
2006, 2007.
So maybe 2007, 2008. And now here we are in 2025. And I've shared like a lot of things with you that I have not shared with a lot of people that would consider themselves, or had at that time considered themselves, close to me. And you continue to listen and not judge. Or maybe you do judge, but at least to my face.
For people who know me, well, if you've been in my inner circle, you're gonna get all of what I think, whether you like it or not. I can't hide stuff on my face. If I don't say it, my face will.
And I think the environment that we were into at the time, there were things that were, I guess, according to that community, were worthy of judgment that are
Very
truly
true.
not. Truly not. Not now.
Not now. Yeah.
But back then, I got rebuked. Okay. Several times. But yeah, I was quite young, very underdeveloped brain when I met Danny, and now here I am with my brain deteriorating.
Perimenopause.
We've gone over the hump of development. Now we're going backwards. But definitely been a friendship that's been over half my life. Over half my life at this point. And that's so cool. That's really cool. Like, there are people that there are friendships that I had in high school that I thought were going to be forever, have not heard, have not seen.
Me too.
Once we went to college, that was it. And there are people in college that I thought we'd be friends forever that are not. There are people that were in my wedding that I thought would stick around that are not around anymore. And so you are one of the few,
The Marines.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
yeah.
Thinking about our friendship is actually perfect for today's topic, because we're going to be talking about finding your people and recognizing safe harbors for your authentic self. It's like finding those rare people where you don't have to be anybody but just exactly who you are. So let's start with the basics. So in your life as a photographer, videographer, I feel like as someone who is literally makes an art out of capturing people's essence, how do you know when it's safe to let someone capture yours versus just giving them like the highlight reel?
That's a good question. Okay. So my process has always been like whenever it comes to new people in my life, it's always started off with very intense observation. I look at how you treat other people. I look at how you talk about yourself. I look at how you treat people that I like, that I consider myself close to.
Yeah.
And then I also kind of observe how you treat total strangers that can add nothing to your life. And that it starts off with that. If I see any any hint of like selfishness or entitlement or you do treat people as if, well, you add nothing to my life, so I can't throw you away, then that's all a possibility of how you will treat me, because I didn't promise you anything.
Right.
So yeah, there's that. And then, I mean, it's always easy. It's always easier if you find something in common.
Yeah.
With the person that you're getting to know, because straight away that's what you start talking about, whether it be hobbies, whether it be, family life, even TV shows, podcasts. Like, do you listen to the Living Room podcast? Yeah, so like, finding out those things, but again, those things are still very much on the surface. I don't have a shortcut as to how to get close to somebody. It really just takes time. And that's why the friendships that I've had for the longest have also been the ones that I consider to be like the deepest or the closest, because of that much time that I've had with them. I can't even name one friend that I've had for a short amount of time that's like already at the level of you or Brent or I can't. But that's me. There are some people like Brent who is the mirror of the universe, and all he has to find is like one thing that
You have in
common, and he will be at your hip for as long as it takes. And he's such an open character, and he's so likable and so friendly that people gravitate towards him. And I mean, that's how we got together. He's just like, hey, can I cook for you? And I was like, yeah, I like food. But yeah, how like there's like I don't know if it was a meme or like a quote from somebody that said that like introverts don't make friends, they just get adopted by extroverts. Like,
sure.
That's kind of how that happened with me and Brent. But yeah, it just takes a lot of time and observation on my end. On the other person's end, it takes patience.
For sure. And
it takes consistency, because the moment that you're like off, like I'm off. So if you're consistently this one way with me, and that's something that I've come to accept from you, the moment that you're not that way, something is wrong. What's wrong? And I'm going to keep asking. And if you tell me it's nothing, either you've been fake this whole time, or you're being fake right now, and you're not being honest with me. And
I think it's cool that you'd even ask, though, because some people are like, I feel like something's off, but I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to rock the boat, but maybe it'll change, or maybe they'll say something to me. But the fact that you even ask.
Yeah, I mean, I've come to, if I want to stick around, I want to keep you around, then I will ask, because if it's something I did or something I got to do to help you get back to whatever it was that you were before, or whatever the real you is going forward, then I got to ask questions, because I would expect and hope that people would ask me if I seemed off about something. So I still do that thing that you just said of like, I'm not going to say anything. If I'm like, I don't really, know this person well enough, or even want to know this person well enough to,
like, if you're not invested.
Yeah, if I'm not invested, then maybe you're having an off day. Maybe you'll be fine next week or something like that. But if it's somebody that I really care about and I feel cares about me, then of course we're gonna have that conversation, because we're here now. We're at that level now, and yeah, I mean, yeah. But yeah, the consistency is key, because I'm definitely a person that gets comfortable with patterns in people. Like, if I can predict things accurately, then that means I know you.
Right.
And if I feel like I don't know you, like if I don't know who I'm talking to tomorrow versus the next day versus right now, like, I can't keep up, and I don't have the time or energy.
Yeah, it's a lot of energy.
So yeah.
Friendships is a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Friendships with how many different people are you now?
That
Like,
part.
That's a lot.
So I think about relationships like those Russian nesting dolls.
Yeah.
What are they called?
Russian nesting dolls.
No, there's like a name.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, I don't know either. It starts with an M. I'm probably gonna think about it like later down the line and blurt it out.
I don't know either, but I think I have
You
an
know,
idea.
you know what I'm saying? Okay, anyway, so you know how like everyone might see like that outer doll, but only certain people get to open it up and get to see those inside layers. So how has motherhood changed who gets to see those inner dolls for you?
Motherhood has actually put the outer dolls back on me. Motherhood has made me feel naked. Like, motherhood has made me feel like, oh, the tiny inside one has been out here this whole time, just getting abused left and right. So once I had my first daughter, I felt a responsibility to kind of pretend that I wasn't a mom. Like, you have this baby, and now this baby is like your accessory, and you are still doing all the things that you did before.
I'm still
you were a
G,
mom.
right?
So I'm still like, goofy, entertaining. I'm still involved in whatever things I'm involved in, whether it be church-wise, work-wise, whatever. I'm still like, it's like, congratulations, you had a baby. Now put the baby in the closet and come back to do whatever it is that you were doing before. After a while, I just felt like that responsibility was not appropriate for me. Because I can't pretend that Riley isn't here, especially when she was really sick.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know, when Riley was 3 months old, she came down with infant botulism. I have an idea where it came from. It wasn't honey, but don't give honey to your kids before they turn 1. But yeah, we were on a road trip coming back from a wedding. She just went limp. It was like over a couple of days. She stopped eating. She stopped pooping. She was only 3 months old. So around that stage, not having pooped for a few days is kind of normal, but not having eaten for a few days, like, that was really concerning. So anyway, long story short, it was infant botulism. She was hospitalized for 2 months straight. By the time we got out, she was almost 6 months old, which is a huge amount of time for a baby. So we went in with like somebody that just came out of newborn phase to this big old infant. She learned to walk at 8 months. Like, she went from completely paralyzed to walking at 8 months. But that was a very vulnerable time for me. And that was the time where I was like, that's when I realized there's no way that I can put her after all this other stuff. Like, she's got to come first. Sorry to everybody that said that that's wrong. Like, I hear a lot of, especially in the church, like, I heard a lot of people saying, like, doesn't matter how many kids you have or what happens with them, your husband comes first. I could not subscribe to that. I couldn't do it.
Space for that.
It didn't make any sense because, it didn't make any sense for me. I don't know if it makes sense to anybody out there, but when she was that sick, like, both me and Brent were like 1000% focused on her. Brent, I feel like, had even more, I feel more responsibility because he had to look after me too, because I stopped taking care of myself completely when I was focused on her. And even when we got home, like, I had all this anxiety over her getting sick again or something else happening to her. And that anxiety lasted for years, like, even after all the other children. So I learned early into that stage of motherhood that responsibility of still being the old G was not.
And she's not saying OG as in OG, but we call her G, right?
Yeah,
we call her G. That's her nickname.
But that responsibility of still being that version of myself wasn't working. So I had to be a different version of myself that was more focused on my family. And after I had my second and my third, then I had to learn a version of me that was focused on my family and also me. And then we had to learn a version of myself that was also focused on Brent, because hello, remember, I'm still over here.
Right.
So Brent went from being first to being last, and he had to wait around a little bit. And I'm sure some people are like maybe clutching their pearls, like, how dare you put your husband at the bottom of the list? But that's how it had to be in order for me to keep whatever was left of my sanity. And he understood that, and that's why he's still around. Like, we're going to be, 2025, we're about to be married 13 years next month. So he's been incredibly patient and incredibly consistent. And so, that's the truest friendship that I have. And I think that I think a new version of yourself as a parent, or even if you lose somebody in your life, you develop a new version of yourself like so often that it seems hard to keep up with. It seems like now I'm the inconsistent person.
Right.
But it's really just learning how to be with everything that you have now. Like when I had Riley, I'm learning how to be a mom. When I had Sydney, okay, I know how to be a mom a little bit, but now mom of two.
Right.
2 under 2, or I think Riley had just turned 2. And then, being a mom of 3, moving, having an infant and 2 toddlers, having a toddler now and 2, older girls. Like, it's a lot. I'm like rubbing my face, but it's a lot. and every day is a new lesson. And if you're not, I guess, flexible or adaptable, or if you're trying to fit everything into this box of who you think you're supposed to be, then I feel like you just miss out on a lot of things that you could enjoy or just live through just by the first step of getting to know anybody, just observing. Like my kids, like I'm observing them and I'm helping them when they need help, especially, if they sometimes they're like, no, I got it. And I'm like,
I know that independence, right? But you gotta let them got it, right?
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know if I answered your question. I went off.
That's totally fine. So it makes me think about when you said, when you were talking about how like life circumstances brings out different versions of you, almost like those different levels of those Russian dolls. And like today is my brother's birthday, Dion's birthday, and I know I've talked about him a couple times on a couple different episodes. He's no longer with us, but today is his birthday, and I've just been like sad, happy, sad. My emotions have been all over the place. And so I think about that little Russian nesting doll that not everybody gets to have access to, but also for me becoming a mom, especially, to Savannah and especially Ethan, after he got his diagnosis, I realized that I needed people who could handle both my strengths and my struggles. Because like you said, everybody gets that outside nesting doll. Everybody has access to that. But I was like, I needed people in my life that could handle the inner ones. And those are the relationships that I felt like I really needed to nurture. And I quickly had to like figure out, who could help me carry those loads, and who would just kind of comment on like how heavy it is, because you have those people that be like, oh, you got all this luggage, let me help you carry it, and then you got other people that are like, oh, you got all this luggage, girl, that looks heavy. And I had to figure out who that was. So as a creative person, who literally captures people's images, and I'm curious as to like what signs and signals do you look for that tell you that someone is like a safe harbor for you to be your authentic self?
I think if somebody, it's so strange because sometimes people will say they are and they're not.
Yeah.
If you have to announce that you're an ally, chances are you're not, and you want to be, but you're not. If you have to announce, if you have to tell me like, this is a safe space, like clearly you feel like you have to tell me because you see that I'm not comfortable.
Right.
So it takes a lot more than just announcing it. It takes a lot more than just saying the right words. My best friend, Bernice, who lives in Seattle, she actually became a friend by saying absolutely nothing to me. I was...
Like ignoring you on purpose?
She wasn't ignoring me. She was just next to me. Mm-hmm. So here's the story. I had a really terrible day because I had, in a very roundabout way, confessed something not great to a person that I trusted. Mm-hmm. This person said, you need to tell these other people that I do not know and did not trust, therefore, you need to tell them because they are in leadership. And if you don't tell them, I will. And I was so like, I was panicking because I was trying to get something off my chest.
Right.
Like, what happened? I thought we were friends.
Right.
I was trying to get something off my chest, and she turned it into, a police report, basically. Right. And so I was panicking, and so I left that conversation and was going home. She gave me like a deadline to do this, and I was in the train station.
Deadlines too.
Yeah, I'm at the train station. I was living in the Bronx at the time, so I'm at the train station, and I'm sitting on the bench waiting for the train. I'm crying my eyes out, so embarrassed. First of all, I do not cry in front of people, and here's a whole train station full of people from church, and they're looking at me crying, and this it's doubly embarrassing because I was this persona of always happy, smiling, goofy, and now here she is crying. Nobody knows what to do with that. Mm-hmm. So Bernice comes down, she sees me crying, and she just sat next to me and hands me a tissue. And she said nothing to me. And I didn't know what to say to her, so I just kept on crying, and I'm like opening my mouth like I need to say something. I don't know what to say, but maybe I should say thank you or something. She's like, nope, just, you're fine. Here's more tissue. And she gets on the train with me. She sat next to me on the train. I'm still crying. And the whole ride, we were her stop was before mine. Like mine was all the way almost to the end of the line, and hers was maybe 15 minutes before. And so we get to her stop, and she's like, do you want to come to my house and just cry some more? Because I don't want to leave you alone. And I was like, okay. So we went to her house. She said, this is my room. I had never been to her house before. This is my room. You can lay down here. Here's a notebook in case you want to write something down. Here's some more tissues. Here's some water. And she left. And that was it. I cried for hours. I fell asleep. I woke up the next day. I'm like, where the hell am I? Where am I? I was so spent, and I was getting ready to do all this at my house by myself, like in my apartment by myself.
You had your own apartment.
Yeah. And I was going to be alone doing this. And then the next day, wake up and pretend nothing happened. And then, the deadline will come and go. And then she will tell on me. And then I would get kicked out the church.
Right. My life is over.
That's how I was going to let it happen. And that's kind of how I let it happen anyway. But the special thing about that is she didn't know me at all. Like she knew me because we both were working in a teen ministry at the time, but that's the only connection we had. We didn't hang out with each other. We didn't study the Bible together with anybody yet. I had just started working with the teens. She just sat next to me and was like, you can exist in this, whatever this is. I'm not going to try to make you stop crying. I'm not going to try to make you tell me what happened. I'm not going to try to share a scripture with you, which was something I was really fearing with all these people around, because church had just ended. And so the train station was full of people at church from church. So I was like waiting for somebody to sit down and be like, do not cry, for the Lord saith. And she didn't do any of that. She just was like, you can just do whatever it is you feel like you need to do right now. I did write a lot in that notebook. I don't think I have it anymore, but I wrote so much in there. She just was like, here are the things that I think you might need. And then she just left. and I don't think I ever like properly thanked her for that. We just were friends after that. She after everything blew up or went down or whatever.
Wait, it blew up?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was
Oh, because you didn't meet the deadline.
No. I did not. I got a nice sit down conversation with the whole all these ladies in leadership. Oh my God, it was so bad. Anyway, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about my friend Bernice. And she, after all that went down, that's when also a lot of people that I was friends with just kind of cut me off, because I wasn't kicked out, but I also was, I wasn't allowed to be a teen worker anymore. I wasn't allowed to do a lot of the things that I was doing for the church, which was kind of a relief, because I was doing a lot of stuff for free. But all I was allowed to do was go to Bible talk, go to midweek, and go to Sunday service. And that was it. I couldn't like serve in any capacity. And I felt really useless too, because I felt like, Luisa in Canto, like that was me. Like if I can't be doing something for somebody, then what's my purpose?
Right. And so, you literally just went from the peak of doing everything for everybody to doing nothing.
Yeah. So I was floating and feeling, oh no, I spilled water. I'm telling everybody on the podcast, I spilled water, guys.
We're back after our commercial break.
But yeah, I had lost connection. I don't know who told who what. I to this day don't know what the gossip was, but I'm sure there was gossip, because a lot of the people that I hung out with a lot just didn't want to hang out with me. That weekend that I had that conversation, that same weekend I was supposed to move, and
you ain't had no help.
Yeah. No. Okay. So you asked me earlier if I had my own apartment. I did not. I was couch surfing at the time.
Oh, okay.
So I was moving into my own apartment, I think, at that time. And I had nobody helping me. I was calling people and they were like, yeah, I'm busy, and it really could have been, but I don't know.
Right. It was just very convenient.
Yeah. And so, Bernice came and she like helped me pack some stuff up, and there were some things that I had, like items from this relationship that everything was blowing up over, like a stuffed animal or something, that I was like, oh, I'm gonna pack this, and she was like,
you mean in the trash bag?
Do you need this? So from that point, she helped me with that. But after a while, like after everything kind of like died down, she was like, okay, are you good? Like, are you okay? And from that point, we were just friends. We just hung out. We spent time. And we were just like, that time where you and I had that honesty talk. Like, we were honest about stuff. And she is the type of person that does not necessarily filter her words. Now she definitely doesn't filter her words. In the church, she would filter them just to cussing. Like, she wouldn't cuss.
Right.
But she also will tell you what's on her mind. And she did that so much for me, and made me realize how a lot of the things that I thought I was supposed to be and do were like so unrealistic. What was the original question?
You're too funny.
What?
So, what signs or signals do you look for for someone that, feels like a safe harbor for you?
So, I told that whole story to say that I'm not exactly done with but I do a lot less of trying to find out what the other person wants or needs. And I'm going to sit back and see if they can make any observations about me, because if we're going to be friends, it has to be give and take, because I've given a lot to the extent that I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm very tired. And so I would love to, support you and befriend you and, be honest with you. But if you can do that for me, and especially if you can do that for me first,
Right.
then we can progress. I think that there are a lot more red flags than there are green flags.
Yeah.
So it's easy to talk about what things would make you, not consider somebody not a safe harbor, but things that just kind of like make me feel seen, make me feel thought of in a way that's like, back when I worked on Sesame Street, people would send me like things related to Sesame Street all the time, and I'm like, bro, like, this is not my life. Like, I love my job, but this is not my life. Like, oh, I saw Elmo, it reminded me of you. Thanks, because I work at Sesame Street. Is that all you know about me? Or even when I like anywhere that I have, worked that is like a well-known establishment or whatever. Oh, this Apple product, I want to ask you questions about it. I don't care that much. Like, but if it's something like, I remember you mentioned that you really love this food, so I got that for you. Or I remember you said something like, you were feeling really, I don't know, tired. Have you tried this type of tea that will give you energy? Or, I got you a coffee because you seem to be yawning a lot. Or sending me a meme that's like related to my personality versus related to something that I like or something that I do. So if somebody sends me like an introvert type meme or something that's like that I can super duper relate to, like, I feel like, okay, this person thinks about me a little bit beyond what they can see of me or what I can talk about in the first 5 minutes of meeting me. So it's definitely those things that make me feel a little bit more safe. And then as far as trusting people to the degree of considering them like, safe for an extended period of time or safe for life or whatever, unfortunately that's a rigorous process. It is not easy to be that close to me. And part of that is because I am not an easy person to be friends with, to be quite honest. Especially these days, like if I feel like I can't even trust you with certain conversation topics, like if we're talking about something a little controversial and I hear you say something that's like, ooh, and if I can't debate that with you, or if I can't like, well, have you considered this? If I feel like I can't do that, then we're done here.
I don't blame you.
If you are also a parent and I see something, you don't have to parent the same way that I do.
Right.
But if I see something that I am actively trying not to do or trying to undo within myself, or if I'm like, oh man, like Riley's giving me these type of problems, and you tell me, well, you just got to beat her or something like that. I'd be like, oh, that's enough. we're done here. So it's hard. I think it's harder now to be a very close person to me, because I don't have time and I don't have energy to spend a lot of that on, is this going to work out or not? Like, I don't know. I kind of need to know in a very direct way. And so I can't be hanging out with you every Sunday for like 6 months and then, oh, we're friends now. Like, that was a lot.
I think that's like when you said about like there's more red flags and green flags and trying to figure out like what makes a person a safe harbor. I think about life now and how we don't have like the time to that we used to invest, the hangouts every week and the phone calls for an hour and like all that stuff. Like we don't have that time to invest because of just where life is right now. And so I think that like a lot of it is a decision and also a feeling. Like,
Yes.
this is I like I'm gonna make a decision that I'm gonna get to know this person, or I'm gonna be close to this person, or it's a feeling like this. I feel like this is gonna work out, so we're gonna go there. Like,
Yeah, I definitely have gut feelings about people. I was telling Brent this the other day, and he's still, even though we've been together for this long and I've been right every single time, he's still like, are you sure? Like, I have gut feelings about people, and I never paid attention to them or even said anything about these gut feelings until maybe a couple of years ago. So I'd have, upon first meeting, I'll have a gut feeling about somebody. And it can be good or bad or neutral.
you're right.
But if it's bad, it used to be that I would ignore it anyway and be like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll change. Maybe, maybe it's not that bad. And it's been bad every single time. So now there's some people that I don't even have to meet. You just have to talk about them. And I'm like,
Right.
But I think now that I'm a parent and I see my kids' friends, that gut feeling thing is so strong. Like, there are a couple of friends of my kids that I'm like, I know you're a child. Okay, I know you are a child. I cannot dislike a child. I can't, because they're a kid. Like, they're still learning how to human.
You're better than me.
I can love this child, but I see this little thing that makes me say to my kid, be careful. The moment you feel uncomfortable, I need you to go. I need you to text me. Like, she brings her iPad whenever she goes to their house. I need you to text me whenever you feel uncomfortable to come get you. If I'm already at the house, we have a signal, like we do like this. If she wants to leave, and I'm like, okay, as soon as I get my things together, we'll go. I ask every time they hang out, has so-and-so said or done anything to make you feel weird or said anything that made you feel bad? And I don't do that for every kid that she hangs out with, but the ones that I had that feeling about. And I'm like, I can't. The first time I had that feeling about a child, I was like, that can't be, this can't be right. This is a literal kid. She is 6 years old. Like, how in the world is this a thing with children? I could see it. I've had that feeling with adults. Like, when it comes to people that Brent befriends, I'm like, I don't.
Watch it.
Yeah, watch yourself with this person or watch yourself with that person. It's not even science. I can't explain it. I can't write anything about it. It's really something that's just a feeling. And I think Black women have this. I don't know if Black men have this. I don't know if white women or white men have this. I know Black women have this because my mom had this. And I was like, Mom, no, you're so mean. You're so judgmental. But she was right.
That's like Savannah. Like, literally, Savannah will introduce me to a friend, and I'll be like, And as soon as she leaves, I'm like, I don't like her. And she'd be like, Ma, you literally just met her 2 seconds ago. And I'm like, something bad. So she got some bad aura about it. Literally 3 weeks later, Ma, and then and I'm like, we talking about the same girl I said ain't like the first time I met her. Yeah. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Listen,
Yes.
I know, I be knowing.
Yep. We just know. And so I have learned to pay attention to that for myself. So that's another thing that I think is like, who could you consider a safe person? Like, that's one of those things too. You could be really nice. You could be rude. We could have so much in common. But if I had that gut feeling that's like, I don't know, something is off or something feels weird about this, then I'm gonna, we can hang, but I'm gonna keep you at arm's length. But if that gut feeling is more positive, more like, oh, we're gonna be buddies, then that arm's length thing kind of dissolves, and we just, end up, we're cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I had ignored that feeling for so many people in my life that, I mean, they didn't ruin my life or anything, but it was just like waste of time. Like, what were we doing?
And we have, like we said earlier, like friendships is just, it's so much effort and so much time and energy. Like
I could have been picking up a hobby. I could have been starting a different type of business. Like I could have earned another degree. I don't know. Like so many things that I could be doing with this time instead of like trying to build something on a foundation that's not there.
Yeah.
So
when I think about like safe harbors and people and safe people, I think about how like sometimes, you know, we can think that someone is, like you said earlier, we can think they're a safe person, a safe harbor for us. And then, you know, all of a sudden we pulling our ship in and then all of a sudden there's rocks under the surface that we ain't see. So what's one relationship in your life where you initially misjudged the safety of the harbor, whether it be good or bad? Like meaning you thought they was bad, but they was good, or that they were good and you found out they were bad.
Misjudged. Gosh. I think one of my dating relationships started off good, ended up not good. So I will not name names here, but it wasn't the first one.
Okay.
And it's not this one.
Okay.
I have not dated many people in my life. So if you know me,
you know.
You know who I'm talking about. He, you know, on the surface, very outgoing, very energetic, very friendly, very funny, very cool. Mm-hmm. All the things that you want in a friend.
Right.
That's what we were at first. And then and then it kind of became like things that he would say or do when nobody was around or nobody was listening or nobody was looking that were still very fine, but a little bit more than friends. And I, not having dated many people in my life, fell hard, like so hard. I folded like a chair. Like it was just, and I think I don't know. I feel like he might have sensed that in me. I don't know what his life.
I got her.
I don't know what his life was like before. He was a baby Christian when we met. So I don't know what his life was like before. I don't know what his tactics were. I could be wrong, but I feel like he saw an opening and took advantage of it versus like, oh, you know, I'm going to be careful.
Right.
It was like, I'm going to go in. So our relationship blossomed from friendship to secret dating relationship very quickly to, you know, it got to a point where it was like, it just went so fast that I was like, we're getting married.
Oh, snap.
We're getting married next year. Like, I know this is going to happen. And the only people that knew that level was me and him. And he wanted to keep it that way.
Red flag.
And I, from the moment where he was starting to like flirt a little bit more or whatever, like way before the relationship took off the way it did, my gut was like, this is not good. You need to back off.
But you was folded like a chair, so you couldn't.
Yes, I was busy folding. Because I was like, you know, I don't date, so I want to get married before I turn a certain age. I want to have kids before I turn a certain age, and this is the guy. This is the one I want to do this with. Such an idiot. Anyway, so he presented himself in a way that he seemed to be a really good. He was a really good guy at first. But like, I guess the way that he took advantage of my foldingness, it wasn't careful. It wasn't, what's the word? He wasn't taking care of me. He was taking care of himself.
Right.
I didn't see it until it was too late.
Gotcha.
But, he was so busy taking care of himself and telling me that by taking care of himself, he's taking care of me. I don't know any better. So I guess that's one that just kind of was like, oh, this is great. And then it just like, it wasn't even like, it was like Titanic. It wasn't even like rocks underneath. It was a straight up iceberg, like right there. And I didn't see it until it was too late. And
Your ship was sinking.
It was terrible. And it turned out so terrible that when we did end the relationship, I never saw or spoke to him again. Like, I think there was one conversation we had that was supposed to be for like closure or whatever, but he made it so awkward. Like, he brought this, I don't know if you remember, he would mail me a notebook.
Yeah.
So he brought that to our last conversation and was like, I want you to keep this. And I'm like, dude, at this point, I'm like, you can't do that.
Right.
Cause you know, it's like one of those, like, that last, like,
Yes. Let me give you this last
your
reach
face.
out. Right.
Let's go, let's go in this room one more time.
Literally. 'Cause honestly, if you had said, you know what, I want to, let me just one more time. He would be like,
I
okay.
want you to keep this. And I don't remember if he had other things, but he wanted to make it seem like such a hard, like, it's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. But yeah, so after that, I was like, I was very confused. And I was confused because he was still trying to take care of himself. And I didn't know how to take care of myself. So after that, time passes. I don't know how many years passed, but when I met Brent, I was like, okay, we're not doing this again. Because Brent is also very outgoing, very energetic, very friendly, very funny. So I was like, there's no way I'm doing this again. So that's when, the nesting dolls start, like, I'm putting them back on for this. And so that friendship, like, definitely was longer and more protective of myself. And then I also had Bernice this time too.
Yeah.
So Bernice
Brent
was
had
like,
to put in work.
he had to put in a lot of work, and still does. But yeah, like, after that relationship, that's when I realized that I had left this part of me, this very vulnerable part of me, wide open to anybody that was attractive enough or that made me feel attractive enough. And after that, I realized that being attracted and feeling attractive was the beginning. That's the minimum.
Right.
That's the bare minimum. You have to, like, I need to feel protected at this point. And that's how, at the end, like, when I ended up dating Brent, like, that's how I felt. Like, I felt like he definitely protected me and put me in a I don't know, not on a pedestal, in a place that was like, I felt like I could kind of relax and not feel like, what is he gonna do today, or what is he gonna do now? Because that's how I felt all the time with this other guy. I did not feel safe. I did not feel protected whenever we were alone, and whenever we weren't alone, I didn't feel loved,
right? Or
because
special.
He was keeping us a secret.
Yeah.
So it was like, he had to go, like, across the room so that people didn't see us sitting next to each other. And I talked about him like I liked him, because I did, but he wouldn't talk about me like that. So yeah, that was one, I guess, that started off great, but ended up not being safe at all.
So looking back at our friendship journey from college until now, what's some moments that stand out to you as where you felt completely safe to be your unfiltered self with me?
I think during that time, because I know I talked to you a few times, and you were one of the few people that knew what was actually going on versus, like, the PG version that I was giving everybody. Like, oh, we had a little struggle tonight. There's the feeling that, like, even right now, when was the last time I saw you? Thanksgiving-ish? Like, before Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
And before that...
Right.
We don't see each other often, even though we only live like 3 hours away. Anyway, we don't see each other often. I don't think we talk very often. I don't talk very often to anybody.
That part.
But I feel like I don't have to spend time reintroducing myself to you, because I don't think, I mean, I am a very different person than the person that you met the first time, but at the same time, a lot of things are the same.
Yeah.
Because you got to see a version of me that I had put a bunch of layers on, and a lot of other people saw all the layered stuff. And then once I became, a mom, especially once I got married, I think, I had to get rid of a lot of those layers. But but I feel like every time we get together, we talk or whatever, it's not like, hey,
right,
how you doing? Like, like awkward and weird. And like, is she mad at me because
right, we haven't spoken in like 9 months?
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel that. I don't know if you ever felt that way, but there's a short list of people that I feel that way with, and that can meet me where I'm at, wherever I'm at.
Yeah.
I could be a totally different version the next time you see me, because I'm working out now.
What?
So I could be like, bodybuilder. Feel like, did you eat your protein today?
I'm trying to get my life together to work out too, but go ahead.
But no, there's that, and there's like just things that I'm discovering about myself that I like or I don't like about myself. These kids are getting older. So the next time we see each other, and it could be next week, it could be next year, it could be 2 years, 3 years from now, I could be a different person, and you will still meet me where I'm at. So, so that collection of moments of like, first time in a long times, I think those have been special to me because, there are so many people that I don't even bother because I don't want to have the whole like, how's it been since 2014?
Right.
I think whenever I was engaged to Brent, like that, well, during that relationship, I feel I've been able to be vulnerable with you about stuff, ask questions. And of course, when I first had Riley and you came to visit, like I didn't have people coming to visit me. There was like, the meal train or whatever.
Right.
But all of like everybody that I was around, we all had our babies at the same time. We weren't visiting each other. So when you came to visit me, and I felt like that was a hard time for me because obviously never been a mom before. And I was in the middle of feeling that responsibility that I mentioned earlier of I still have to be X, Y, and Z plus this mom to a baby. And I feel like that time that you were there, I could kind of let go of that for a little bit and just be Danny's friend or just be a couch potato. Right. Because when we do get together, we are total couch potatoes. And I'm so fine with that. I love that about us. But, and speaking of which, there was another time you came to visit me. That memory came in my phone, I think yesterday or today, of that picture that you drew. It was a picture that you drew of like a face going, ah. Because you had surprised me telling me that you were coming to visit.
Yeah, I remember that.
And all we did was just like hang out.
I think we binged The Office. Was it The Office or was it Breaking Bad?
I think it was Breaking Bad.
I think it was Breaking Bad.
I don't think you liked The Office.
I got into it a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there was that time. I don't remember what year it was, but we were very new into our marriage still. And I was still like, Brent's wife in New Jersey, Brent's girlfriend, Brent's fiance, Brent's wife, Brent's this, and very lost in that identity and not quite living in my own yet. And so that time that you were there, like, I was G. And even though we were couch potatoes, it was very great. It was fun.
It was fulfilling for me too.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I feel like for people who don't know me really, they expect let's go out, let's have fun, you're the life of the party, you're this extroverted person. And I'm like, no, but with my real friends, I get to just sit out and do nothing and
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah.
Not when they're not my real friends, but like for people who really know me, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier with like people expecting me to make them laugh all the time. Like I am goofy and funny, but if that's your expectation of me every time you see me or every time you hang out with me, you're going to get tired of me real fast because that's not that that's not who I am, but that's not all I am.
Right.
I want to watch TV. I want to take a nap. And if you don't want to do those things with me, or if you don't feel comfortable with silence, which is what I give a lot of too, then we're not gonna make it very far.
So for someone who could be listening that feels like they've been wearing a mask for a long time where they don't even know what their authentic self looks like, what's one piece of advice that you can give them?
The mask is not one big mask. It either comes in pieces or it comes in layers. And you, I think, need to be patient with yourself in removing it. And also be okay with putting it back on if you don't feel safe. Because sometimes that's all you've got. Especially as a woman, especially as a Black woman, you can't necessarily always just remove yourself from a situation or a person and just, ghost them. It's not always the right safe thing to do, I guess. But if you understand that, if you kind of, I guess, listen to your body, like if you tense up, if you feel tense, if you feel anxious, if your heart rate is going up, if your muscles are, sore the next day after hanging out with somebody, that's a sign. If you have bubble guts, if you are sweating, and not just because you want to be around, because people can make you nervous because you want to be around them, like somebody you have a crush on, somebody that you actually want to be friends with. But if they're making you feel nervous because you are genuinely uncomfortable, that's something to pay attention to. And there's billions of people in this world. You don't have to, forge the same type of friendship with everybody that you meet. You got people that are perfectly okay at arm's length. You got people that you can meet once and never see again. You got people that will grow with you and learn with you, and you'll go through stuff together. And you've got people that will meet you where you're at. And in order to discern between who each person is, that takes a lot of trusting yourself, listening to yourself, and unlearning the thing about like, when other people, I guess, could say like, well, you can't always believe what's in your own head, or lean not into your own understanding or whatever. Like, they tell you not to trust your gut because you're supposed to trust your gut, and they don't want you to actually do that. But anyway, that's a different conversation. But yeah, I think wearing it's not a terrible thing to have that mask. It's not a terrible thing to take it completely off and be like, you're gonna get this whatever it is, and if you lose friends in the process, you gotta work through that too. But yeah, I think starting to pay attention to the things that you like and dislike in your relationships with people, and also setting boundaries to protect yourself, and having the expectation that other people will do the same to protect themselves, then you will be able to kind of weed out the relationships that are not beneficial to either of you, or that are only one-way relationships. Either way, like you could lose a friend that feels as if you're this different person, I can't handle it. Or you could lose a friend that's like, well, actually, since we're paying attention to our bodies, you make me feel really uncomfortable when you do this thing and I can't take it anymore or whatever. So I don't know. I don't think the goal is to have as many friends as possible. I think the goal is to have genuine connections with people that you feel that you can trust in a moment of vulnerability, regardless of whether they can relate to that moment or not, because there are some things that your friends are not going to be able to relate to, that you need to feel as though they could still support you, or at least be there for you, even if they can't relate to whatever it is. So like when you lost your brother, I don't know what that's like.
Right.
And I didn't know what to say, don't know what to do, but I was like, let me put the slideshow together, or, let me see how I can, provide something to kind of help you have these positive memories or to grieve. I don't know to what degree that actually helped. I hope maybe 1 degree, but
it helped a lot. I actually look back at it quite a bit.
That's good. But yeah, like, my friend Bernice, like she lost 2 of her kids. Don't know what that's like. And she needed a lot of support, and I still don't know if I ever gave her enough. She says I did. I feel like I came to visit.
Right.
I came to the memorial. I obviously keep in touch, but there's just like there are moments where, the people that you trust are not going to be able to be like, oh, I know exactly how that feels.
Yeah.
So if you can trust them to support you and be there for you, even if they don't know how you feel, then that's some people that you can, try to hang on to.
So before we wrap up, where can people find you?
They can't.
Okay, well, where can people find your work?
Yeah, I'm my Instagram is private, and my Facebook I'm like unfriending people every day. So like slowly
The
trying
purge.
to yeah. But they can find my some of my videography work at Filmed by Gael. That's F as in Frank, ILMEDBYGAEL. And that's on Instagram. It's some of my work. I don't post everything on there, but yeah, that's where you can find me. If you're having a baby or if you're getting married, hit me up.
Hit her up.
We will talk. Or even if you just, want a video of a day in your life, those types of things. Yeah, hit me up and we'll talk.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much, G, for coming and actually being in my living room space. So grateful for you and your friendship over all these years. And thanks for always putting up with me. And I don't know. I just like doing life with you, even though it seems like we do it so far apart. But guys, I just want you guys to remember that new episodes drop every Wednesday. So hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on conversations like this one.
That's all for today's episode of the Living Room Vibe podcast, where real people have raw conversations. I'm your host, Danny Lourdes. Thanks for vibing with me. If you're feeling the vibe, follow us on Instagram at the LRV podcast, as well as hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. It helps more people find their way to our living room. And as always, thanks for listening. Bye.